Like Berman. All right, you know the drill here. 538 electors meeting. You need 270 to clinch this. On paper, Donald Trump has that comfortably with 306 electoral votes. So you need to sway 37 to not vote for him. That doesn't necessarily mean they automatically go for Hillary Clinton. They would likely opt for another Republican. It would be thrown into the House. Then picking a vice president would be thrown into the Senate. Bottom line, it would be a mess. It is unlikely, but if a Republican Texas elector has his way, there is a benefit with going rogue.
We had multiple generals and foreign policy experts, I believe 50, who said Donald Trump would be dangerous if he were president.
But in your state, Donald Trump won 52.2% to 43.2%. Aren't you obligated to reflect the will of voters in Texas?
That is not how the system was set up by the founders. The Electoral College is designed to be a safety check if electors are not comfortable with a candidate running.
All right. I want you to meet the Republican Colorado Secretary of State, who, as much as it might politically make him wince, says that electors in his state have to accept the popular vote of the vote in his state, which went to the Democrat, which went to Hillary Clinton, and that rogue electors in his state could face charges. Secretary, very good to have you.
Neil, thanks for having me on today.
So what do you make of, let's say, this rogue Texan, and there might be others before the day is out, who will not reflect the will of voters in his state?
Well, I can't speak for the laws in every state,
right.
But in Colorado, the law is clear. Since 1959, our electors have been obligated to vote for whomever the people of Colorado vote for. And in Colorado, we let the people make that decision. We had almost 3 million people, a record number of people vote in this presidential election, and their will is very clear. And in this case, it's for Hillary Clinton as president, Tim Kaine as vice president. We are simply trying to ask the electors to follow Colorado law and to give faith and credence to the people of Colorado who voted very clearly for Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. That may not be the result of everyone in the state. It may not be the preference of everybody, but that's how Colorado voted. That's what the law requires. You know, they sued us in federal court. The federal court said there's no substantial likelihood of success on the merits, and so ruled against them. In state court, we got specific instructions from a state court judge that individuals who don't follow Colorado law will face consequences and also can be removed if they will not execute their duty under Colorado law.
You know, your position as Admiral, knowing I'm sure the election didn't turn out the way you personally would have wanted or that Republicans in your state would have wanted, but that people voted overwhelmingly for the Democratic ticket in Colorado, and that electors have to honor that. There are not situations where everyone or every elector is duty-bound as such in other states. So I know this is different because it's the case in your state, but what do you think of those not so duty-bound who, in this case, vote what they say is their conscience?
You know, I think the real question is, what did they tell people ahead of time? Did they sign a pledge that they were going to vote a particular way? Because I think you're supposed to honor the word that you give. The other question I'd ask, frankly, is were their names on the ballot? So one of the curious claims that's being made is that somehow these people are being trusted to decide for the rest of us who are too dumb to make the decisions ourselves. Well, if your name's not even on the ballot, I think that's a very hard argument to make. So here in Colorado, the only names on the ballot were for the president and vice president for the respective candidates. The electors' names don't even appear. And so an argument that somehow they were being entrusted to vote for the rest of us who aren't smart enough to vote for ourselves falls flat and has no support whatsoever.
Secretary, thank you very much for taking the time just to step back, not make this a political statement, but just an honoring the will of the people statement. I appreciate that. Larry Sabato.